All right, we are ready for the first round of the Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championship 2023. In the blue corner, representing Oceania, it's Poe Jiang. And in the red corner, representing Japan, it's Kazuya Sakamoto.
It's time to duel. Some of you might be familiar, both these players are pretty awesome. Poe Jiang, I know he won YCS Hartford in 2022 with Sky Strikers, and now he's back. He was the New South Wales champion. He won with Purrely, and he came in second place at the World Championship qualifier in Oceania this year, and that's why he's here. And it looks like he is playing that deck that he qualified with. We mentioned it is Purrely. He's going to start by normal summoning Purrely. He's going to excavate the top 3 cards off his deck, and he's going to add Stray Purrely Street from the deck to his hand. The others are going to go there on the bottom.
Ooh, he's got the Pot of Desires up next. That's going to give him a couple more cards, and that's crucial for this Purrely deck. You only have 8 of those quick play spells. You need as many of them as you can to make sure that you can go for the win.
And on the other side, that a little dangerous with only 8 quick play spells if you're banishing the Myth Pot of Desires. But I'm assuming Poe has made the decision like he needs those extra cards as you mentioned. It's more important than the risk of banishing those quick play spells.
Well, there we go. We got the straight Purrely Street. That's going to give them some protection. Goes with Purrely Sleepy Memory, but Kazuya is main decking Dimension Shifter, it looks like, and he chains it.
That's huge. So we're going to see a discard here of a main deck copy of Dark Ruler No More. It's going to be sent to the banish. So Dimension Shifter, pretty solid against Purrely, not completely devastating, but you're not going to be able to exceed summon by using the memory from the graveyard with Purrely. But he's going to summon the Purrely and add a copy of My Friend Purrely from the deck to the hand.
Now, crucially, that quick play spell is banished here, so it's not going to be coming back from the graveyard.
And it's the one Sleepy Memory now.
Yeah, that is the limited card as well. My Friend Purrely, it's a pretty good one. You get to pay 500 life points and show your opponent 3 Purrely quick play for Purrely spells from your deck.
Let's see what he decides to reveal. I'll tell you, it won't be 3 copies of Delicious Memory, since that card is limited. So it's a tough situation here. Yeah, being under Shifter, things are going to be a little difficult for him, but he's still having the Purrely on the field. He'll be able to use the Purrely to exceed summon from his hand at least. Looks like he's going to show Pretty Memory, and maybe Delicious, if I had to guess. There it is.
Well, we'll see if he gets it.
So all the Purrely quick play spells are really cool. You get to activate them. You get to do a certain effect. They all have their little effects, like Sleepy Memory. The next time he would take damage, his turn is 0. And then you can also choose to discard a card to special summon a Purrely monster from the deck to the hand.
All right. So randomly chosen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Rolls a 5, takes that 1 up towards the top of your screen. We don't know what that is, neither does the opponent. It is randomly chosen. And Poe did have to pay 500 to use My Friend Purrely.
All right, looks like he's going to be exceed summoning for Beauty here. Beauty has a quick effect as long as it has that Pretty Memory underneath it to be able to negate a monster effect. So at least a form of disruption here he's going to have. Definitely a fallback when you're getting met with something like Dimension Shifter. And he's going to set 2 cards face down, and it looks like he's going to end his turn. So straight Purrely Street is going to let him attach a memory from his deck to the Beauty.
And Purrely Beauty there, you can see, targets an effect monster your opponent controls, negates its effect at the end of the turn. If you have that memory, it becomes a quick effect instead. Now, all of the rank 2 Purrely Exceeds monsters also have this other ability, a quick effect, that up to 3 times per turn, if you activate a Purrely quick play spell, you can chain with the Purrely Exceeds monsters effect to attach that card as material, and then you do something else. And in the case of Beauty, it's to switch the battle position of the monster your opponent controls.
Works great in combination with Happiness.
Right, so that's either the way, the kind of the game shot, where they try to attack over and over with a Happiness, or you can use it defensively, if need be.
So a decent start from Poe Jiang here. Not the ideal start, but probably the best he can really go for here with that Shifter being up. He might have a copy of Purrely Yeet, but probably not. It doesn't look like he's going to activate anything quite just yet. He could be saving it to dodge like some sort of targeting, like something like Infinite Impermanence.
All right, so Kazuya starts with Infinite Impermanence. He has no cards on the field, so he can play it from hand, activate it immediately from hand, and negate the effect of, it appears to be the Beauty. Reinforcement of the Army is up next for Kazuya Sakamoto. It lets you get a level 4 or lower warrior monster from your deck to your hand. And once we see what that is, we should have an idea of what he's playing.
Yeah, Reinforcements Army, an old card, but one of the best cards from quite some time. Still limited to 1 to this day. Poe thinking about a response. Maybe he has something like Ash Blossom, Enjoy Spring, potentially, if he does play copies of that. Looks like there is no response. The reinforcement's going to resolve it.
Oh, it's Vanquish Razin.
All right, we got some VS on our hands here.
It appears that Kazuya has brought a Vanquish Soul deck here. Now, I like this choice a lot. We mentioned some of the decks that are in play for this tournament, and so many of them are mono-typed, right? But you could play Vanquish Soul, a deck that has a bunch of different types, has a very strong draw engine, can deal a lot of damage fast, has a lot of ways to get around your opponent's targeting effects. But because everything is a different type, you could also play there could be only one.
Poe
which gives you a bit of advantage if you do it.
Definitely, and Poe does have the Purrely Yeep, so he's going to be able to upgrade his beauty into an Expurrely Noir. It looks like it only has 4 materials, so it will be affected by card effects, but he's going to have 2 shots at using the quick effect to shuffle back a card from from Kazuya's field or graveyard to the bottom of the deck.
Yeah, and you got to do that now because you've got to keep the Vanquish Soul deck off the field. If it establishes one monster, things can go south pretty fast.
Yeah, and you want to do it before he's able to add here, because you'll be able to instantly add something like Heavy Borger or something to have that quick effect to bounce it and dodge to return from the hand to dodge the Noir effect.
Yeah, so Kazuya will have to have something in his hand right now if he wants to get around it.
Yep, only 3 cards left since he had the Infinite Permanence and the Dimension Shifter.
So Rosalind's effect is activated here.
This is the first round of the WCS. You got to make sure you don't make any mistakes. This is where you have the most amount of nerves of the tournament. After you get round 1 out of the way, you're a little more calm. It looks like he is going to detach.
Yep, detach 2. Both of them are banished. Remember, Dimensional Shifter is still in play here. It lasts for both the turn you activated and the next turn.
Yep, and it's key to remember that you need to keep that Purrely underneath the Noir, because it only has a quick effect as long as it has that Purrely monster underneath it as a material.
Gonna chain with Heavy Borger.
He has the Heavy Borger. This is gonna let him return the Rosin to the hand as a quick effect to special summon Heavy Borger from the hand.
And Heavy Borger is really the workhorse of this deck. It has the ability that if you reveal a dark monster in your hand, you can draw a card. If you reveal a dark monster and a fire monster, you get to inflict 1,500 damage to your opponent's life points.
It's probably my favorite Vanquish Soul monster out of the group.
So we're chaining with Expurrely Noir here again. It is not once per chain, I believe.
Nope.
It is not.
You might just have to go after the Rosin twice. I think that's your best option here.
You have to keep him off the board.
Because the one thing about Vanquish Soul, as strong as it is, if you can keep that, as you mentioned...
and his last face down card was Infinite Impermanence. So he's managed to get around everything and negate the Rosin.
And fantastic. This is what I'm saying. Yeah, Vanquish Soul, if you can stop them from establishing a board, it's difficult at times, but if you can, it can put you in an advantageous situation. Now, the Purrely Yeep will return the Noir back to the extra deck during Poe's next end phase. So he's going to... Usually, you can turn him into something like Zeus later on, so you don't have to deal with that those repercussions.
All right, so he's burned the normal summon here. After you get rid of that normal summon, it can be pretty tough for Vanquish Soul to continue on. There are a couple cards that they can play that give them a free special summon, though, especially if they have no monsters in the extra monster zone. So we'll have to see what the rest of that hand looks like. It's 3 cards right now. We know Heavy Borger is there. It was just revealed. 2 more cards on top of that. And there is nothing else. And Poe is up.
No Stake Your Soul here from Kazuya. Now Poe survived. He outlasted the Dimension Shifter. Looks like he may be thinking on end phase.
And he got to keep the My Friend Purrely up there, which is
huge. I mean, My Friend Purrely is the gift that keeps on giving. you always really want to deal with that card, because it also has that effect if your opponent removes one of your extra deck monsters, exceeds Purrely monsters from the field, you're able to add back quick plays from your graveyard. In this game, it wouldn't matter so much as the Dimension Shifter made sure you didn't have any in the graveyard, but definitely something to watch out for when you're playing against Purrely.
Yeah, so post checking his banished cards, it's a little tough because the Sleeping Memory's gone, and one of the Pretty Memories is gone. So he wouldn't use My Friend Purrely again here.
He might be looking for Delicious into a Plump, maybe trying to find. With no monsters on the field, he's not going to be able to really have multiple attacks with a Happiness or anything, since it has to attack into monsters.
So
but he could be going.
If you're wondering what those cards he was looking at were, that was his face down banished cards from Pot of Desires. It looked like he was making sure that he was able to legally activate My Friend Purrely.
Yeah, you mentioned with only 8 quick plays, there is a chance. But it looked like he did Sleepy, Sleepy, and Happy. Or Pretty. Sorry, not Sleepy. Pretty, Pretty, and Happy. There's only one Sleepy.
We will find out what he got when you do.
So he's going to go for Happy Memory, discarding Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. So he did have the Ash Blossom potentially, unless he drew it for turn, but decided to keep it because he thought he realized he already had enough answers. He could be saving it for something like Stake Your Soul on that previous turn, or just knowing he would need it as a discard for his follow-up. This is a Japan versus Australia matchup. Two strong regions.
Yeah, Australia is often, it's small, but it's kind of like dense with good duelists.
Oh, it looks like he summoned Purrely off and now missed off of the Excavate there. Didn't hit any. So he's going to use Purrely to Exceed Summon by using the Happy from the graveyard to go in Purrely Happiness. X-Purrely Happiness. E-Purrely Happiness, sorry.
Yep, that's a mistake you don't want to make on your deck list. Don't write X-Purrely when you mean E-Purrely.
I've heard that's happened to some of our duelists in the past. So he's going to go straight to battle here. Going to attack with Happiness for 2,000.
All right, Happiness effect's going to add another Purrely card.
Poe taking a minute to consider his options.
This is a bit of an interesting position because I think you want to get a Zeus here somehow, but you also don't want to give up the rest of your cards. So he picks up Purrely.
Look, yeah, he might be just giving up on this Noir and letting the Noir return to the extra deck here at the end phase.
Noir's going to go ahead and attack. Now, Noir, high-ranked monsters, so you can't do the Downward Magician trick here. That's got to be rank 3 or lower.
And also the larger one, I don't think Noir's one doesn't have the effect to attach a quick play when you activate it either. So it's kind of hard to get materials under it once the Noir is already out.
Checking real fast. Sets one face down. Yes, just one face down. Checking his extra deck here.
Imagine, yeah, he could just, I think Downward Zeus.
He's looking at his Downward Zeus options, and he's going to do it over Happiness. Because if you do that, you got double 2 wipes.
Here we go. Let's see.
Zeus with 4 materials versus Zeus with 1 material.
I wonder what he's going to do with the. Oh no, he's going to go with Zeus with 1 material.
Zeus with 1 material, keep Happiness on the field. Well, it's not like you can't put more materials onto Zeus. There are ways. If your opponent destroys something else on the field, you can attach something.
So at the end phase here, the Stray Purrely Street is going to attach a Pretty Memory underneath Happiness.
There we go.
So he does have another Noir coming down here, and it's going to also, Stray Purrely Street also has the effect you can't target the Purrely monsters that turn their special summon. Only special summon, not normal summon. Good to keep that in mind.
All right, so Kazuya is up. Getting through draw phase, standby phase. Now in the main phase, we're going to normal summon Vanquish Soul, Dr. Madlove.
The doctor is in.
Dr. Madlove can add a Vanquish Soul spell or trap to the hand. Purrely is not chain. That card was most of the way over there.
Because I think you definitely want to chain it here. Dr. Madlove has the effect to add a Vanquish Soul spell or trap when it's summoned, but he's going to respond to the Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring.
Yes, and now on top of that, you could chain the Purrely. And he almost made one of those mental errors right there and blocked himself off from using Ash Blossom. Now in response to that, we're going to see, Vanquish Soul Dust Devil. That's going to switch Dr. Madlove to defense position, and then you flip your opponent's monsters face down equal to the number of Vanquish Soul monsters you control.
That is the card he was trying to cut him off from adding with the Dr. Madlove. I would only be able to guess, and for him to already have it is a little devastating here because now we already knew he had that Heavy Borger. Dr. Madlove is a dark, so that's going to turn the Heavy Borger's effect to reveal 1 dark online immediately to draw a card if Kazuya chooses to do so.
Now Dr. Madlove back in the hand here. Kazuya playing a lot more quickly now. He feels like he has a little better control of the duel now that Noir is not going to hit the field. And it's notable the Vanquish Soul Dust Devil does not target your opponent's monsters.
It doesn't. Yeah, the Dust Devil was huge here. A big swing here in this game.
We're going to go ahead and link off the heavy border here for the Link 1 monster to the theme, Raka the Vanquisher. It is not a Vanquish Soul monster, but it works with them. You're going to set 1 card face down, set 2 cards face down.
Big fan of Raka the Vanquisher. Oh, he doesn't use the Raka the Vanquisher's effect?
Does not, just leaves everything there.
Yeah, Raka the Vanquisher has a quick effect during either player's turn. You can either add back a Vanquish Soul monster from your graveyard to your hand, or special summon a Vanquish Soul monster from your hand to the field.
Oh, and there it is. There can be only 1.
That's devastating here for Poe. What will he choose? I think you have to go machine.
No, he's got a machine and a,
oh, no, he's fine
and a
here.
fairy.
Yeah,
he's fine. You just can't flip up the happiness.
The opposite of rivalry.
So each player can only control 1 type of monster now. Now, the Purrely deck is notably mostly fairy-type monsters. So the fact that Poe was able to get that Zeus on board is massive.
I love the artwork on There Can Be Only One. It is so good.
Now, no Vanquish Soul monsters on the field. So right now, Raka the Vanquisher's effect to force the monsters to fight the strongest thing on your field is not active.
So it looks like Poe's going to use my friend Purrely. Reveals a straight Purrely Street and a couple of quick plays I wasn't able to see. I think a Happiness, maybe a Sleepy.
I think there was a My Friend in there as well.
Oh, okay.
I'm getting the impression that he's run out.
He's running low on the quick plays. Yeah, Desires might have hit a couple. It's a tough one.
Yeah, that's the danger with the Desires when you only have 1-ofs on Delicious and Sleepy.
So that's another thing about the WCS format. Pot of Prosperity, otherwise extremely good card in Purrely, limited to 1 here for this weekend.
It's tough. It's tough. It's also good in Vanquish Soul, though.
It is.
So it kind of balances out a bit. You have to go with Extravagance, which is more random.
Yeah, because in Vanquish Soul, truly, I mean, you can utilize other extra monsters, but your main one you really only need is Raka the Vanquisher for this deck.
All right, so Raka the Vanquisher has a couple effects. One lets you add things back. Skystriker Azalea is a warrior?
I think so.
Fine.
All right, so he takes out the There Can Be Only One, but since he doesn't have 3 spells in the graveyard, it is sent to the graveyard after it uses the effect.
Let me take a look at Azalea. Because most of the Sky Strikers are machines. And in fact, Azalea is also a machine. So the Zeus is a machine.
Right.
And There Can Be Only One says you can only control 1 monster of each type, so you can't summon another monster of that type or even declare the summon of a monster of that type. So I'm questionable about the legality of that play.
It looks like we're moving on, though, and Raka the Vanquisher is going to summon the Mad Love from the hand, and the Mad Love is going to add another copy of that Dust Devil to the hand.
I think it might have actually been better for Kazuya that the Zeus isn't there anymore, perhaps. So it's another Purrely. And hits... Oh, all right.
Happiness.
Gets the memory. All right, the Happiness is only, what, 2,000 right now?
Mm-hmm. Well, unless there's a Delicious under there, I can't see if it's only 2,000.
I can't see which memory that is.
So he's able to go into another copy of Happiness since he has the Happy Memory in hand.
So all fairies here. And then we've got a rock and... What's Dr. Madlove? Spellcaster?
I think so. All right. Going to battle, it looks like.
Yeah, now you'll have to attack the monster with the highest.
I think
Madlove's that was a fiend, not a spellcaster.
Ah. I know they're all different. Hence, there can be only one.
Mm-hmm. We go ahead and attack Dr. Madlove.
All right, and then he's going to. Oh, he used the the Sleepy Memories effect, so he could send the Stray Purrely Street to the graveyard to attach one of Kazuya's cards as a material underneath the Happiness, and he's going to attach to the Dr. Madlove underneath the Happiness. And it looks like Kazuya has seen enough here in game number 1.
All right, game number 2 in round number 1, and Kazuya is going first this time, starting with Dr. Madlove.
I think Dr. Madlove probably wins the award for coolest looking Vanquish Soul monster, in my opinion.
Picks up Vanquish Soul Continue.
Yep, pay 500, you get special summon back a Vanquish Soul monster, or add it to your hand, I believe. Might just be special summon back, but it's definitely a powerful card. Way you can trigger the other effects like Rosin to be able to destroy a monster in the same column. So you can use it as a defensive option as well as a way to extend past your normal summon, but it doesn't look like Kazuya has a heavy Borger in hand to return this Dr. Madlove. So a decent start, but not the strongest here from Kazuya.
And you're correct. Continue can add it to your hand.
Okay, cool.
So it's add to your hand to summon in defense position.
I was pretty sure it's pretty versatile, like Rock of the Vanquisher a little bit.
So Dr. Madlove, 1200 attack. Now, Dr. Madlove can reduce the attack and defense of opponent's monsters by revealing a dark monster, or if you reveal a dark monster and the earth monster, you return the monster your opponent control, or monster on the field with the lowest defense on the field to the hand, and it's your choice if tied. Now, Madlove is probably not returning itself. It's got 2,000 defense. That's quite a lot. So Poe Jiang goes for the Harpy's Feather Duster.
A beautiful Harpy's Feather Duster, and that's going to hit the Dust Devil, the Cyclone. Going to follow it up with My Friend Purrely.
That's a very good start for Poe. Doing My Friend Purrely first. Goes for Happy Happy.
I'm surprised because you didn't link into Rock of the Vanquisher. I guess he just doesn't have any other Vanquish Soul monsters in the hand, but he still could have maybe linked in the Rock of the Vanquisher, added back the Dr. Madlove with Vanquisher, and then used Rock of the Vanquisher to summon the Madlove from his hand.
Yeah, I think he valued keeping Madlove on the field,
so nothing
to
could go
switch
wrong.
with the Dust. Yeah, it's not as advantageous to do it this way, but it is safer.
Yeah, you don't lose to something like Infinite Impermanence quite as easily. So My Friend added one of the quick plays from the deck to the hand.
And it was three happiness. Three
Okay,
happies.
3 happiness, so we know it is happiness. Now he's taking a moment to consider his options. Looks like he's about to play a card. Nope, still thinking. I mean, this is the time you want to think, be aware, because you have an opening here. There's not too much on Kazuya's side in forms of disruption. It looks like he's going to activate Happiness and discard Lightning Storm.
Oh, that's interesting. He had multiple sweepers in hand. Going to go ahead and choose a card on the field until the end of the next turn. First time it would be destroyed. Or by card effect, it is not destroyed. And then discards the card, the special summon Purrely.
Purrely lets you add a non-quick play Purrely card from your deck to your hand. So it's either My Friend Purrely, Purrely, or Stray Purrely Street. And he does go with Purrely.
Purrely effect on the Happy Memory.
DD Crow.
Ooh.
I like DD Crow and Vanquish Soul. It is a dark monster that you can reveal for the effects, and it has an advantageous effect here to stop the Purrely from Exceed summoning.
So we haven't mentioned it yet, but because you need specifically dark monsters, earth monsters, and fire monsters, there are a lot of commonly played cards like Ash Blossom or DD Crow, or Ghost Bell, for instance, that
That's
are
a
all
big one.
great things to have in the deck that you can justify main decking, even if they would normally be a side deck card, because if you don't need them, you just use them to fuel your other effects. So Purrely is on the field.
It missed on its effect.
Missed.
Did see a super rare Book of Moon, though.
Oh, the old Champion Pack one?
Yep. We said that it also has the Harpy's Feather Duster as well. Now it looks like he's going to overlay the 2 for rank 1.
Is that Slacker Magician or one of the Sylvans?
Sylvan Princess Sprout, maybe.
Yep, there's Sylvan Princess Sprout.
This has the effect that you detach the top card. If it's a spell or trap, it'll go to your hand, and if not, it goes to the graveyard.
He does have to shuffle first. Our duelists are using a rather more streamlined randomization process where they only do it when they need to.
Save some time, makes sense.
We're going to take a look. See Ash Blossom, that goes to the graveyard.
And it's a miss. He might have really wanted to hit Purrely quick play here, but he's going to go to the battle phase and attack over Dr. Madlove.
And if you take a look at the attack points down there, that rank 1 Princess Sprite, 1800. Even with the reduction effect from Dr. Madlove, it would be not enough to win the battle. And that's going to turn into Zeus.
And we can assume that Kazuya does not have a dark and an earth monster in his hand.
That would have been devastating if he did.
So just a Zeus with 2 materials, it's solid, especially with such a weak start here from Kazuya for his Vanquish Soul strategy. Oh, Doggeran.
It's going to give him a kaiju. It's Doggeran, the Mad Flame Kaiju. And it has consumed Zeus.
It is the one you play because it is also a fire, so it definitely fits perfectly for the Vanquish Soul deck.
You could also play Kumungus or Radiant if you wanted for an Earth and a Dark.
True.
Vanquish Soul Continue is activated next. We saw that added with the Madlove, and now Madlove is the target.
Things are all of a sudden looking better here for Kazuya. So instead of special, he's going to add
to the hand. I wonder if he's got something that wants to reveal it. Let's find out.
Nope, normal Dr. Madlove.
Maybe needs it in attack position.
Possibly, could be the case here. Let's see if he's going to go for another copy.
Now this is something that I know I harped on this at the WCQ, but I really feel like you need to play multiple copies of this, at least Continue, but probably both of the spell cards in situations exactly like this where you don't have anything to get with Dr. Madlove. I mean, quick plays are so good, right?
Oh,
surely
so
you could fit one more.
You
don't have to play 3.
I think I'm okay with 2 Dust Devils.
Like you could play 2 Dust Devils or 2 Continues. Like you don't even need to play 2 of each, just one more. Just one more.
And it looks like post that card was Infinite Permanence. So now Kazuya's going to be able to link away the Dr. Madlove.
And it seems that he does, otherwise he wouldn't have been able to use it. So Rock of the Vanquisher is up next.
Now, the thing about a kaiju is you can get rid of your opponent's monster and replace it with a kaiju, but then you still have to deal with that kaiju that is on the board.
So that's one face down. And now Poe and Doggeran are up. Thinking time here. Well, it's not that bad if you got a 3,000 attack monster on the field and my friend Purrely.
Poe has just been damaging his own life points more than Kazuya's been able to so far in this matchup.
Let's find out. Goes Happy Memory, and Delicious.
So those are the corresponding extra deck monsters for though are going to be Purrely Plump and Purrely Happiness.
I'm not quite sure which one you want here. Like this feels like an opening that you want to try to take to win the duel right now.
Yeah, you might be looking to find a way to go Delicious, targeting Rock of the Vanquisher, and find a way to go Happiness, because Rock of the Vanquisher only has 0 attack, so multiple attacks from a Happiness could be devastating. Especially with that Doggeran on the field as well. That's 3,000 damage just sitting there.
All right, so Purrely Pretty Memories can give both players 1,000 life points. And we'll discard a card. Which is another My Friend Purrely. Looks like a...
That's the one thing I really like about Purrely is sometimes when you draw multiples of the same cards, like multiple My Friend Purrelys, all your other cards let you utilize those cards, so you can just discard them as as part of the effect for the memory cards.
Yeah, decks with kind of built-in hand fixing tend to be strong.
Looks like he spell summons Purrely from the deck, and that's going to let him add, I would guess, a stray Purrely Street, or just another copy of Purrely. That makes sense too.
Yeah, it really feels like he's pushing to try to win it right here.
He's looking for more quick plays, more cards. You have to tell, this is also the first World Championship where double sleeving is allowed. They have those outer clear sleeves as well.
And you really want to protect these World Championship sleeves. They're very, very nice.
They're so cool looking.
There's also a blue version, which we haven't seen yet. Oh, but we did see this last game, and we're going to see it again. There can be only one.
It's huge.
Now that's going to keep Purrely off of the extra deck, because you can't declare the summon or use an effect to summon a monster of a type you already control, even if it would use that monstrous material, which is the Azalea thing last game.
Yes, indeed it is. So he's going to use the Mad Love effect. It looks like he does play 2 copies of Vanquish Soul Dust Devil, at least somewhere in the combination of the main and side deck. All right, links away for Relinquished Anima.
Yep, that you can do. It's a spellcaster. And now Purrely can be normal summoned. And it's going to hit. It's going to see all sorts of things. Get a pretty memory. Take a look at Dr. Madlove. Now, Dr. Madlove can return the monster with the lowest defense, which would be a Purrely at this point. So not going to be able to pick up the Dogoran. Now those two, that's a Spellcaster and Fairy. For Azalea, and it's going to take out There Can Be Only One. Next up, using Pretty Memory, pitching Purrely.
See if he goes for another copy of Purrely, and indeed that is what he's going for. Going to try and excavate the top 3 and find another quick play. And he does hit a straight Purrely Street this time, so at least he's getting a card in his hand that he could discard for a quick play, or he can activate it here.
All right, so it appears at this point that the 45 minutes of the round are up. And that means that we're going to enter into the end of match procedure. And the way that works is as follows. If the round is not finished within 45 minutes, the winner is the duelist with the most life points at the end of the current phase, which according to our score right here is Poe by 100 points. If the life points are even at the end of the phase, play continues to the end of the current turn, when the duelist with the most life points will be the winner. If life points are even at the end of the turn, the game is a draw, and then after that we check to see how many games, or how many duels rather, each player has won in the round. If a player has won more than the other, for example a 1-0 win, that player wins the match, and if it's even, then the match is a draw.
Alright, so he's going to use Plump. Get some materials underneath it from the graveyard there.
He's getting Noir next.
Oh, he used Sleepy to attach the Dr. Madlove by sending the dog around, okay. Now, so anytime you have a X-Purrely or E-Purrely Exceeds monster with 5 materials, you're able to just put that Noir on top there.
And I believe it'll be at the end of this battle phase is when the duel will end. It's a little interesting when you go, when you have all these life point payment cards, like paying over and over again for my friend Purrely in situations where you get close to near the end of time.
Yeah, it can be a little scary. Running some numbers, seeing how much they're taking. There's a Delicious under there, and it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 materials. So that's 1,800 more attack. So he's sitting at 29.
And got some damage in. Get another Sleepy Memory there. And it looks like Sleepy is being added there. Up to 7 materials now on that Noir. Any 5 or more, and you have the unaffected by opponent's activated effects ability active.
Yep, that is a big Noir. And it has multiple, 3 activations it can do on top of being unaffected. And with only 3 cards in Kazuya's hand, it's going to be tough for him to climb back into this game at all. Looks like he's going to try and set some cards face down. in phase. I'm assuming Noir's effect will be activated.
Straight Purrely Street first to get another material on there, though.
Writing is on the wall here for our first round, the World Championship. Okay, I don't want to give him back that Dr. Madlove.
No. That's about the only way that Kazuya gets back in this is if Poe makes a mistake.
Yep. Attaches Happy and Sleepy. Puts the other one on the bottom. Those 2 cards both go to the bottom. Now Poe draws for the turn. And it looks like he's contemplating his options here. Kazuya with 1 card in hand is going to use Purrely, but has the graveyard effect. You can banish it to shuffle back Purrely monsters from your graveyard to the deck. Definitely something you don't want to miss. And now that he's shuffled them back, he's going to use My Friend Purrely, pay 500, reveal 3 copies. I don't think I've ever seen that, honestly. My Friend Purrely revealing 3 copies of Purrely.
See, so for clarification, the main round, everybody but the feature match went into the end of match procedure.
Yeah, sometimes the feature match starts a little later than the actual time clock.
Yes. Well, it's kind of tough because you have to get all the players, get them over, check everything, make sure they know the ground rules. So as a result, you'll get an extension on your feature matches. Or rather, they'll get their own time, is usually how it works. They have their own clock to look at.
That is usually the case. It looks like he's going to add Purrely off the Purrely, going to attach Happiness, so he's going to be able to see summon for the Purrely Happiness. Azalea's going to attack.
Azalea's still there because you have 3 spells in the graveyard after using it.
And that's it.
All the attacks are enough, and Poe Jiang is going to take a 2-0 victory here in round number 1 of World Championship 2023.